For thousands of years, the continent of Westeros faced wars and waves of migration until divided into 7 realms and 3 major ethnic groups during the Targaryen Invasion of 2 BC. Defeating the Kingdom of the North, the Kingdom of Mountain and Vale, the Kingdom of the Owls and the Rivers, the Kingdom of the Rock, the Kingdom of the Reach, and the Kingdom of the Storm, Aegon Targaryen united the First Men of the North with the Andals of the South, but failed to conquer the Rhoynar people of Dorne, who fought off 5 attempted invasions over nearly 2 centuries until persuaded to join through a marriage pact in 187 AC. Though House Targaryen named their realm after the 7 kingdoms that preceded their rule and largely respected established borders, Westeros was divided into 9 administrative territories, including the North, Vale, Riverlands, Iron Islands, Westerlands, Reach, Crownlands, Stormlands, and Dorne. Originating as one of 40 noble families who ruled the Valyrian freehold as Dragon Lords, House Targaryen fled their homeland to settle the island of Dragonstone in 114 BC, after Daenys the Dreamer foresaw the doom of Valyria, which struck 12 years later in 102 BC, destroying most of their leaders and dragons, while others were lost in the century of blood that followed. All save House Targaryen and their 5 dragons, who allied with House Valerion of Driftmark and House Celtigar of Claw Isle to control trade in the Narrow Sea. Practicing agnatic primogeniture, the leadership of House Targaryen passed through the male line from Aenar the Exile to Gaemon the Glorious, followed by Aegon, Maeggon, Aerys, Alex, Balon, Daemon, Aerion, and finally Aegon the Conqueror, who alongside his sister wives Visenya and Rhaenys used their 3 remaining dragons to conquer 6 of 7 Westerosi kingdoms. A continent primarily steeped in Andal culture, the Targaryens readily embraced the faith of the 7 and concept of knighthood, but continued to practice the Valyrian tradition of incest, believing their bloodline must remain as pure as possible to bond with dragons. Thus, Aegon Targaryen conquered Westeros atop Balerion the Black Dread, while Visenya flew upon Vhagar and Rhaenys on Meraxes. Ruling for nearly 3 centuries from an iron throne in the capital of King's Landing, House Targaryen used a 3-headed dragon as their banner, with fire and blood as their words, wielding the Valyrian steel swords Blackfyre and Darksister. Reaching a golden age under King Jaehaerys I and his grandson Viserys I from 48 to 129 AC, they also faced many civil wars, including the Faith Militant Uprising, when those loyal to the faith of the 7 fought against Targaryen incest, the War of Succession between Maegor the Cruel and Aegon the Uncrowned, the Dance of the Dragons between Aegon II and Rhaenyra, as well as 5 failed Blackfyre rebellions, in which Daemon Targaryen and his descendants repeatedly tried to overthrow the royal family until their final defeat in 260 AC. Yet the greatest blow to their prestige came from the loss of their dragons during the reign of Aegon III, diminishing their power until Robert Baratheon of the Stormlands rebelled against the cruel, violent reign of Mad King Aerys II, wiping out most of the remaining Targaryens, save for a few of the younger children that fled to Essos. Roughly 12,000 years before Aegon's conquest, the First Men migrated to Westeros, introducing bronze metalwork, horses, and a runic writing system, while waging war against the native giants and children of the forest. Though they eventually agreed to a peace pact in which the First Men adopted the religion of the Old Gods, the native population gradually lessened and fled to the far north, where they might escape human expansion. Meanwhile, the First Men rose to prominence throughout the legendary Age of Heroes, when many ancient noble houses established realms and dynasties that endured for millennia. Among the many stories from this era, some claim the famous Southern High King Garth Greenhand fathered Brandon of the Bloody Blade, a great warrior who ventured north and became the father or ancestor of King Brandon Stark, also called Bran the Builder, who founded House Stark and may have built Winterfell, Storm's End, and a massive ice wall to keep out the Others, or White Walkers, which attacked the south and nearly wiped out humanity until defeated by the Night's Watch, who took charge of the wall to guard against future invasions. Establishing their rule in Winterfell and nearby Wintertown, House Stark wielded the Valyrian steel sword Ice, used the direwolf as their banner with the words "Winter is coming," and slowly united the North, defeating many rivals including the Barrow Kings of the Barrowlands, House Flint of Breakstone Hill, the Slates of Blackpool, the Umbers of Last Hearth, the Locks of Oldcastle, the Glovers of Deepwood Motte, the Fishers of Stony Shore, the Riders of the Rills, as well as the houses Greenwood, Towers, Amber, Frost, and Blackwood, which fled from the Wolf's Wood to the Riverlands of the south. To conquer Sea Dragon Point, the Starks defeated the Warg King, Greenseers, Skin Changers, and the Children of the Forest, while Rickard Stark defeated the Marsh King of the Neck. In the east, Brandon IX drove back the cannibal raiders of Skagos, who eventually bent the knee, while in the west, King Roderick Stark won Bear Island from the Ironborn. Yet perhaps their most dangerous enemies were House Bolton, who ruled as Red Kings of the Dreadfort, where they flayed captured Starks to make cloaks from their skins. Though King Royce II and his descendant Royce IV captured and burned Winterfell, House Stark emerged victorious when King Rhaegar the Huntsman bent the knee. Yet House Stark failed to conquer the Three Sisters, who instead swore fealty to House Arryn of the Vale, resulting in terrible losses during the war across the waters until the North lost interest and departed. Roughly 1,000 years before Aegon's conquest, House Manderly faced extinction when exiled from the Reach, but were saved by House Stark, who gave them the Wolf's Den along the White Knife River. Building the trade city of White Harbor, the Manderlys became the richest house in the north while remaining fiercely loyal to the Kings of Winter. When Carlon, a younger son of the Starks, defeated the pirates and slavers attacking their eastern shores, he was rewarded with lands where he built Carlshold and founded House Karstark. Populating Westeros for thousands of years, the first men were eventually supplanted by the Andals of Essos between 6000 and 2000 BC, fair-haired worshippers of a single god with 7 aspects, who spread their culture to nearly all lands south of the Neck, introducing their language, system of writing, iron metalwork, and traditions of knighthood, but ultimately failed to conquer the north, where the hungry wolf King Theon Stark defeated Argo's 7-star at the Battle of the Weeping Water, after which he sailed their fleet across the Narrow Sea to unleash vengeance upon the enemy homeland of Andalos. Sometime later, the Andals attempted a second invasion, but were thrown back by the Crannog Men of the Neck, leaving the North as the largest territory where First Men culture and traditions survived. Yet when King Torrhen Stark faced the Dragon Lords of House Targaryen, he bent the knee to save his people. To reward their submission, Torrhen Stark was named Lord of Winterfell and Warden of the North, retaining their borders until forced to part with a strip of land to help supply the Night's Watch. Largely keeping to the north, the Starks focused on helping their people survive harsh winters, while protecting and maintaining the ice wall, but at times were forced to interact with the south, like during the Dance of the Dragon Civil War, when Lord Cregan Stark sided with the black faction of Rhaenyra Targaryen, ending years of bloodshed by marching to the capital with up to 20,000 men, where he spent 6 days securing the realm for the Queen's son Aegon III, serving as Hand of the King for only 1 day so he might punish the guilty before returning to Winterfell. Remaining in power throughout the years of Targaryen rule, House Stark defeated a Skagosi rebellion during the reign of Daeron II, the Ironborn raids of Lord Dagon Greyjoy during the reign of Aerys I, and the wildling invasion of the King Beyond the Wall, Raymond Redbeard, who invaded the south in 226 AC. House Stark then played a critical role in overthrowing the Targaryens, when Lord Eddard Stark joined the Stormlands, Vale, and Riverlands in Robert's Rebellion of 282 AC, defeating Mad King Aerys II to proclaim Robert Baratheon King of Westeros. Returning to Winterfell, Eddard Stark again traveled south to help defeat the Greyjoy Rebellion of 289 AC, and after a series of betrayals and executions, died a decade later along with his allies Jon Arryn and Robert Baratheon, fracturing the continent in the War of the Five Kings, where his son Robb Stark declared independence as king in the north and the Trident, winning every battle but losing his life to the Freys and Boltons, ending the reign of House Stark, and leaving the north divided between the Boltons and Stannis Baratheon. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Sir Bob of the Buoy, Torque Frostbite, Tim, and Z Packwood. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos, vote on future content, and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.